Buying an old house is always a risky proposition. While they can be charming and filled with character, these older homes come with lots of history. Sometimes the history is not as pleasant. After buying an old home, this man ventured into the musty, old basement where he found a strange panel on the wall. Too curious to simply leave it alone, he removed it and was stunned by what he found on the other side. Before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. A new homeowner named Jerry had only just moved into his house when he began to explore his basement. While looking down the staircase, he noticed something unusual between the wall and the stairs. It was a strangely out-of-place piece of plywood that looked as though it was being used to cover up something on the other side. The man slowly approached the wood to get a better look. He grabbed hold of the corner of the wood and shifted it slightly. That's when he noticed a strange gap between the wood and the wall. There was something behind this wall the previous owner wanted hidden. With a few tugs on the corner of the board, he pried it out from behind the staircase and stared in awe at the startling discovery. There was an entire room down there no one had bothered to tell him about. The room was stocked with supplies. Inside were dozens of boxes and a locked safe. After inspecting the outside of the containers for a few moments, he realized the boxes weren't just any old useless cardboard boxes. These were gun boxes, and there were lots and lots of them. Why, he wondered, was the previous owner so well armed? For a moment, he was glad he couldn't get into the safe. He wasn't sure if he wanted to know what the previous owner deemed so secretive it required locking away. That's when he noticed the ammo boxes. He opened them up, and sure enough, they were filled with live rounds. A picture of the former homeowner started forming in his head because the presence of the bullets begged one important question. What exactly was the previous owner preparing for? And why did they leave everything there like they were forced out of the home without time to collect their belongings? The following day after the discovery, he bravely ventured back down the stairs to continue his explorations. Before long, he found even more ammo and other strange equipment. There was so much ammo, enough to take down a small army. He must have been worried that a box would contain live explosives or something. Nevertheless, he kept opening boxes, desperate to know what was in his home. He found this small pouch. When he unzipped it, he found even more ammo. He began to suspect the answers were in the safe, which he still hadn't been able to open. But did he really want to know the truth? He felt totally unprepared for what he might find behind the safe's locked door. He kept looking around the room before attempting to venture into the safe when he saw something that made his heart skip a beat. A grenade was tucked into one side of another container, stuffed to the brim with bullets. He immediately realized there was no pin. It was live. Wait a minute, it couldn't have been. Nervously, he inspected the grenade and found that a hole had been filed into the bottom and all the powder drained. This was a huge relief, but he was still alarmed at how ready for war this room was. After taking a moment to savor the feeling of relief, he opened another ammo box and was rewarded with this amazing sight. Loose change. Almost all of it pennies. Thankfully, it wasn't more bullets. Still, the answers to his questions, he knew, rested in that safe. He decided to go back and try cracking that safe one more time. He gathered his most powerful safe-cracking tools, mostly blunt objects. No surprise, the safe fended off hammers and axes and crowbars. Oh my. Smartly, he took the safe to a professional locksmith the next day and posted a message on Reddit promising to update with any news. Jerry was delayed in getting to the bottom of the case, however. A couple days after posting his photo evidence, a group of strangers kept showing up at his door. Although he didn't answer, he heard that a neighbor's house was burglarized the next night. Frightened that someone might be after the newly opened safe or all that weaponry, Jerry decided to sit on his secret find for a while. While Redditors waited for answers, another poster shared his own dilemma. As Imgur user Toady Errol will no doubt attest, there's a good chance that you could uncover some fascinating findings when sifting through the contents of an old house. Whether it's vintage photographs or a collection of keepsakes, those items can make all the effort worthwhile. Yet, for this keen online image sharer, his venture in August 2013 ended with a shocking surprise. The ceramics room that Toady Earl was poking around in his grandmother's old house was long vacant. In fact, it appeared likely that the space had remained undisturbed for years before he finally got in there during the summer of 2013. And, judging by the cluttered state of the area, that isn't too hard to believe. Indeed, The room was filled with cardboard boxes all over the floor, alongside various pieces of artwork. In one of the corners, however, Toady Earl caught sight of an old wooden wardrobe that was surrounded by junk. From there, he uncovered a truly remarkable mystery, which he would go on to share with fellow Imgur users. While studying Todiaril's treasure hunt, a familiar feeling may well take hold. Many of us can relate to finding something unexpected after searching through old belongings that have been packed up for storage. But in the case of this image sharer, he got far more than he bargained for. Todiaril's big discovery began innocently enough when he poked his head into one of his grandmother's old rooms. Subsequently, he took to Imgur to talk about what he found in the summer of 2013. In what proved to be his first post on the photo-sharing website, Toady Earl captured the imagination of thousands. Titled, "Gravel Safe Unlocked," Toady Earl began his post with an image of the cluttered ceramics room. In addition to the cardboard boxes and artwork, the room also included a series of old wooden cabinets on the wall. Given how little floor space there appeared to be, several other items were stacked on top of them as well. Toady Earl then shared another photograph, which highlighted the hidden wardrobe in the corner of the space. He went on to investigate the contents of the large closet, but not even he could have predicted what happened next. To explain more, the treasure hunter then retraced his steps on the website. Toady Earl wrote, "While snooping around my grandma's ceramics room, I found a surprise in a cupboard at the back of the room. The cupboard had a false bottom. Beneath that, the tiles were cut out and packed with gravel. I brushed the gravel aside, and it's the top of a combination safe." Along the way, Toady Earl snapped a couple of pictures inside the wardrobe. As he previously revealed, the lower section was mysteriously packed full of gravel upon opening, and after clearing the area out, he captured a shot of the safe, with the round dial standing out from the remaining grit. Unsurprisingly, Toady Earl was keen to take a look inside the mysterious safe. However, he was dealt a significant blow when he brought it to the attention of his grandmother. Even though the box was in her ceramics room, she didn't know the combination to get it open, so she searched the house for potential clues. "My grandma couldn't find the code in the end, so she gave me permission to open the safe up with force," Toady Earl recalled on Imgur. His father removed the safe from the ground while he was away and used power tools to cut through the edges before prying it open. Toady Earl captured a few photos of his father working on the safe in the yard. Once the tools were set aside, the box's true state became clear. It was metallic, rectangular, and heavily worn, its lid covered in deep rust from years of exposure. With the lid finally open, Toady Earl discovered a collection of items packed tightly inside. Their age and condition made it clear the box had belonged to his grandfather, who had passed away years earlier. He first noticed a large package wrapped in black cloth, also covered in rust and dust. A strange white symbol on the fabric caught his attention. Another Imgur user later explained that the marking was the Chinese character for double happiness, commonly used in wedding traditions. Unfolding the cloth revealed several items inside. A faded photograph of a young woman standing beside a large window immediately stood out. The image was old and discolored, but recognizable. That woman, he later learned, was his great-great-grandmother. Another photograph showed a man in a sharp suit, wearing glasses, and holding a tobacco pipe. This turned out to be his great-grandfather, offering another glimpse into his family history. Moving past the photos, he found a small brown pouch tied with rope. Its stamped date, Georgia 1776, hinted at its age. Opening the pouch carefully, he emptied its contents onto a dark surface. Inside the bag was a gold pocket watch in remarkably good condition. One Imgur commenter noted that the cloth it had been wrapped in resembled British Army issue barrel cloth, suggesting the watch may have had military significance. The pouch also contained a wide assortment of stamps from various countries, including places that no longer exist, Czechoslovakia, Zaire, and the Soviet Union among them. He then examined a few loose items: a golden pen, a silver lamp, not a genie's lamp, he joked, and a small plastic box containing more valuables. Inside were 13 vintage coins from nations such as Cuba, Venezuela, New Zealand, and Pakistan. One commenter mentioned that the Pakistani coins, in particular, were extremely rare. Another item was a World War I medal accompanied by a detailed metal crest. Toady Earl also found a small gold key with no indication of what it unlocked. With that, the contents of the cloth package were fully revealed, but the safe still held one final item. As we mentioned earlier, Totoro was greeted by a note when he first opened the safe. The short message was written by his grandfather before the box was hidden, and it may even sound somewhat familiar to some of you. The scrap of paper read, "Abandon all regret, ye who enter here." Totoro recognized the famous twist on Dante's Inferno and believed his grandfather wrote it as a playful message. While the objects inside were intriguing, the handwritten note added something special, a direct voice from the past, still echoing through time. Totoro's story generated considerable attention online after he posted it in August 2013, accumulating hundreds of thousands of views and thousands of points on Imgur. As the story continued to grow in popularity, major outlets covered it, and YouTube channels retold it. Today, even a simple note from the past can ripple across the internet, becoming a modern message in a bottle.